Hello everyone, welcome to the top PIB news session on EduTap, in which we will be covering a very important topic that was in the PIB news recently, that is the RERA Act. So what exactly this act is all about, what are the important points that you are required to remember from the exam point of view, we are going to discuss all these dimensions in the today's top PIB news session on EduTap. So let's move on the topic, let's get started. So guys, here you can see from the headline from the PIB itself that the agreement for sale rules under the provisions of RERA, which were being framed by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs for the Union Territories without legislature. So that was the headline in the PIB recently, and here you can see that why exactly it was in the news. See, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs have basically in year 2016 have framed some agreement for sale rules. What exactly it is? This is basically an agreement between the promoter and the allottee. Allottee is the person to which that particular property or the project has been sold. So guys, basically these rules were being framed by the MOHO in year 2016, and the copies of that, the samples of that were being sent to all the states and union territories of the country, and these rules were being basically framed for basically the union territories without the legislatures. So now guys, what exactly has happened? As per the directions from the Supreme Court of India, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs with the housing department of every state is carrying out the exercise that whether the rules which are being framed by the states complies with these agreement for sale rules which were being established, which were being framed by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs in year 2016. So guys, now there must be a question popping out in our mind that what exactly these union territories without legislatures is all about. See, there are two kind of union territories in India, that is one with the legislature in which it has its own assembly and elected MLAs. But when we talk about, see, the example of these are Delhi and Puducherry. And now guys, when we talk about the UT without legislature, then it is the UT which is not represented by the elected representatives. For example, Chandigarh. So guys, this was basically the difference between the union territory with legislature and union territory without legislature. Now comes to the main important question, that what exactly this RERA is all about. What is RERA? Why it has been launched? What are the different provisions under this? We are going to discuss all of them in the today's session. So guys, now when we talk about the RERA, the very first important point that you are required to remember from the exam point of view is the full form of the RERA. So basically the RERA stands for the Real Estate Regulation and Development Act. See, as the name says, the Real Estate Regulation and Development Act, that means this particular act was being launched for the regulation and the development of the real estate sector in our country. So guys, why exactly this particular kind of regulation was being really needed in our country? See, we are having regulatory bodies for the bank, for example, Reserve Bank of India. For the market, we are having SEBI. For the telecom sector, we are having TRAI. But what about the real estate sector? See, as per the data, 77% of the total assets of an average Indian household is being held in the real estate sector, and that is also one of the largest investments that a person made in his or her own lifetime. So guys, that was the reason that with such a large this sector is all about, this is really a large sector, so there was a need of the Real Estate Regulation and Development Act. That means there was a need of the regulation in the real estate sector. So okay, that was the reason that Real Estate Regulation and Development Act was really needed. Now comes to the most important point, that in which year this particular act was being passed. So this was basically passed in year 2016. Now one more date is important from the exam point of view, and what exactly it is? The implementation date of the RERA Act. So when we talk about the implementation date, so basically this act was being implemented from 1st of May 2017. So that was the date from which it was being implemented. So please mark star here as this particular dates, and this year is really very important from the exam point of view. Now guys, why exactly this particular RERA Act was being launched? See, this was basically launched to make the transactions between the developers of these properties and the home buyers, the customers of these properties, to make these transactions between them transparent and to protect the interest of these home buyers, this particular act was really needed, and that was the reason that why this RERA Act was being launched. So guys, now let's discuss this RERA Act in much more detailed manner, and here you can see a beautiful picture, a diagram in which we will be able to discuss this RERA Act in a complete comprehensive manner. So when we talk about the RERA, here you can see it is an act which establishes the Real Estate Regulatory Authority. See, this act basically mandates all the states to make the state-wise regulatory authorities, and what they will be responsible for. They will be responsible for the regulation and the promotion of the real estate sector in the state. Now, what exactly is the aim behind that? Basically, the selling of the properties, that is a plot, apartment or the building, must be happen in an efficient and a transparent manner. Apart from that, it also aims to protect the consumers in the real estate sector, and it also seeks to establish an adjudicating mechanism for the speedy dispute redressal. That means all the disputes and all the queries and all the concerns of the customers must be addressed in a speedy manner. That's why it also seeks to establish an adjudicating mechanism. Okay, apart from that, it also seeks to establish the appellate tribunal to hear the appeals from the decisions and directions. See, whatever the decisions and the directions which are being provided by the real estate regulatory authorities, if a person is not satisfied with that, what he can do, he or she can just appeal against that particular decision, and where he or she will going to appeal that, they are going to appeal that in the appellate tribunal, which is going to hear the appeals from the decisions and directions of the orders of these real estate regulatory authorities. So what exactly going to be the impact of that? See, with the implementation of RERA, every developer or builder must inform the buyers of the progress of the construction, that what exactly is the status of completion of the projects that these home buyers, the customers, have bought from them. Apart from that, when they will get the keys of the property, and about all other directions which are being provided by the RERA, whether they have been abided by or not. Apart from that, what are the other important impacts of this? There will be a timely delivery of the properties for the home buyers. There will be a furnishing of accurate project details, that what exactly are the key details. They will be provided to the home buyers in a transparent manner. Apart from that, it will also specify and defines the carpet area under that particular project. And apart from that, one more important point is that there will be a separate bank account for every project. So guys, these are basically the important points that you are required to remember from the exam point of view about the RERA Act. So now when we talk about other key provisions under the RERA, so here you can see that there will be an establishment of state level regulatory authorities, and all the decisions, if a person is not satisfied with that, what he can do, he can appeal against such decisions in the appellate tribunal, which will be established as per the provisions of this RERA Act. Apart from that, the projects with the plot size of minimum 500 square meters or the 8 apartments must be registered with the regulatory authorities. So guys, one more point that I would like to tell you, that all the residential and commercial projects are applicable under the RERA Act. And what kind of projects which are not being applicable under the RERA? These are the redevelopment projects. For example, 100 people already own one building and the flats in it. Okay, so but now what exactly the builder is doing? He has just destroyed the building and it is redeveloping that building, reconstructing that building, but without the purpose of selling it. So these are basically the redevelopment projects, and the RERA will not be applicable on these redevelopment projects. Okay, so guys, apart from that, one more important point that is important. See, these promoters, these developers will be liable to maintain a separate escrow account, which must be maintained, in which 70% of the funds which are being collected from the buyers will be deposited, and this amount will be used for the construction of that project only. So guys, basically ये लिया क्यों गया था? Why such kind of separate escrow account will be maintained? तो पहले क्या होता था कि मान लो कि किसी प्रमोटर ने पैसा ले लिया है बायर से, एंड व्हाट दे आर गोइंग they are not just investing that particular amount on the construction of those projects. They are just using that particular amount of money for increasing their wealth, for their luxurious properties, and that's why, or what they are doing with that particular investment, they are just investing that amount in other project for the creation of other infrastructures. So that is the reason that why this separate escrow bank account will be maintained by these developers. So इसके अंदर क्या होगा, for example 20% तक की हमारी कंस्ट्रक्शन हो चुकी है किसी भी प्रॉपर्टी की. सो व्हाट दे विल डू, दे विल ओनली बी एबल टू विड्रॉ 20% अमाउंट फ्रॉम दिस 70% ऑफ द फ्रॉम दिस एस्क्रो बैंक अकाउंट. तो सिर्फ 20% ही वो निकाल सकते हैं. दैट विल बी only after the approval from the auditors of that particular project, from the engineers of that particular project. So that was the reason that this was really needed for the protection of the interest of the home buyers. So I hope that this is very much clear. Apart from that, there is one more important point that you are required to note down from here. That is, the developer will be responsible to repair the structural defects for a period of 5 years. And apart from that, we have already discussed that it also defines the carpet area of that particular project. So guys, these were basically the important points. So basically in this session we have discussed the aim, why exactly this act was being launched, what are the different provisions under the RERA Act. We have discussed everything. Now this is a time for a practice question. But guys, before that, there are two more additional points that I want to discuss here. That, see, in the case that the developer was unable to give the possession of the apartment, then in that case the promoter is liable to refund the amount with the interest amount to the home buyers. And guys, apart from that, there was also one provision for the creation of fund for the stalled projects. That means, for example, there are some stalled projects, so to provide such kind of projects a last mile funding, what exactly this act states, this act states for the creation of a Swami investment fund, which stands for Special Window for Affordable and Mid-Income Housing Fund, and the amount of this fund is 25,000 crore. So this fund has been created with an amount of 25,000 crore rupees, and this information was being given in the PIB article, and that's why this really becomes important from the exam point of view. Okay, so that was all about the RERA. Now let's move on to the practice question. So basically this practice question is based on the Real Estate Regulation and Development Act. So what you are required to do here, you are required to identify the correct statement in relation with the Real Estate Regulation and Development Act, and then answer the question in the comment section below. So just focus on the keywords here. For example, here it says that it was an act to establish the Real Estate Regulatory Authority, which is absolutely correct. The second statement says it was passed in 2016, implemented from 1st May 2017, which is absolutely correct. Now focus on the third statement. It says that as per the act, a separate escrow bank account must be maintained in which 50% of the funds collected from the buyers will be deposited. So guys, here the wrong part is that it says 50%, but as per our discussion it was 70%, and that is the reason that this particular statement is incorrect, and the right answer to this question is option C, that is both statement 1 and 2 are correct. So that was the practice question from the today's session. I really believe that it is very much clear to all of you. Now, when we talk about the googly question, so guys, today the googly question is basically based on one of the challenges, that is the Swachhata Startup Challenge, which was launched recently. So kindly identify the correct statements and tell me the right answer in the comment section below. So guys, now when we talk about the homework question in the previous session, then in the previous session the homework question was basically about the theme of the United Nations International Happiness Day, and the right answer of it was Build Back Happier. And here is the list of all the people, the star performers from the previous session who have answered this question correctly. That is Nilesh, Navjot, Janani, Agro Information, Akriti Singh, Rohit Reddy and Tarun Gupta. So congratulations guys, well done and keep it up. And if you also want your name to be mentioned here in the upcoming session as a star performer, so kindly answer this question in the comment section. See, we all know that on 22nd of March, the world celebrates the World Water Day. Now the question is, what exactly is the theme for the World Water Day 2022? Please answer the question in the comment section. So guys, if you have still not subscribed to our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates of the courses and videos offered by us. And you can also join our Telegram channel to get the access to the PDF of the sessions. To join the Telegram channel, kindly click on the link given in the description below. And one more important news for you, that we are running a big sale in which we are offering flat 30% plus additional 20% off on our various courses. And to avail the discount, what you are required to do, you are required to use the code big sale, which is only valid till 23rd of March 2022. That is by today only. So do not miss this particular opportunity. And guys, that was all from the today's session. I really believe that today's session was useful and fruitful to all of you. If you have liked the session, please give a thumbs up in the comment section. If you are having any queries, kindly drop us a mail at hello@edutap.co.in, and you can also call us at 814-620-7241. So thank you for joining us. Wish you all happy learning.